Welcome back. You're watching Standing Guard, where we keep an eye on the enemy, and we continue with the conversation at pace about the cabinet reshuffle. And of interest for this particular forum is the docket of foreign affairs and defense, which we have a very also animated debate upon or on with our panelists this morning. Before we took a short break, we were hearing from General Brigadier Ahmed Mohammed. Right, let's cross over now to Ahmed Hashi on this. So let's just try and analyze the strength and weaknesses of
Debal, I think you're giving me a disproportionate amount of the hard questions, but I will answer it. The thing about it is, Debal.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Am I being fair to
No, yes, you are being fair. You've always been fair to me. We've started a long time ago together.
You continue that.
Debal, I think that part of the BBI and part of the building bridges that we're moving to is we learn by experience. We learn that some things in our constitutions don't work. We learned before, we thought that we could put technocrats in there and they could do a great job, and some of them have and some have not. It has now become clear that all these wrangles and all these insubordinations need to be dealt with a system in which a politician is at the helm, and there's a chain of command. When there's no chain of command, well, then the policy doesn't work. Everybody needs to know where the buck stops, and everybody needs to know who is the boss. And once you have that, and that person is accountable to the National Assembly, the job gets done. That's one. Second, all these technocrats, bring certain strengths and certain weaknesses. We're used to a command system in which independence is not very much valued, and following orders and doing the things that are supposed to be done. Of course, the bureaucracy was modeled under the British Raj and under the military system. So I think that it is important for us to have bureaucracies that work, that have a command structure. Now, putting the bureaucrats in charge of the political agenda of a ministry is an entirely different thing. And politicians have an antennae. They have in Latin, there's a concept called nobles de robe. The people who wear the robe of politics, the people who wear the concept of politics. And those people are able to determine in split seconds what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And I think that bureaucrats may not know that. And I think that it's really important, and I'm not saying that some bureaucrats don't do it. Henry Kissinger was not a politician, he was a bureaucrat. And he did, if you're from the right, you agree with him. If you're from the left, you never agreed with him. But the fact that he was very famous tells you that even a bureaucrat can do something. But we need to go back to our British system of parliamentary democracy, where a member of parliament is chosen to represent his constituency, and he goes to the ministry and he's accountable to the National Assembly. Last point about, I think it doesn't make any sense that for us to say anything negative about women who have been given positions of power. I'm a very strong supporter of women holding political seats because I have daughters and I want them to go there, and they will kill me if I say something negative. But I also think that once you get there, the gender issue goes, and you have to produce and you have to make sure that you do the job the way it's supposed to be done. And sometimes when the fit is not there, we ought to change you. And I think that the president has done the right thing to bring Ms. Maina into trade, who's a very competent person. Yes, industrialization. And we have defense and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have women. This shows a commitment to gender in this country, but the job must be delivered now. The files need to be delivered. The crisis in Somalia needs to be fixed that we had, and the president, do you know what is the basic measurement of knowing what a foreign minister's job is? If the president is doing her job or his job. If the president is doing foreign affairs, that's when you know the minister is not doing her job.
All right. Okay, so we have also Monica actually coming to defense. We know that the rating of Kenya as it is right now, according to the Global Fire Index, is 86 out of 137. And the Power Index, I think also that has risen so far. Would you think she has, the grit and, the stamina and the expertise really to take us a notch higher? I don't know this particular assessment. Maybe you are the expert. You can bring me up to speed as far as this is concerned.
When General Powell took command of the State Department.
The Global Fire Index, we'll come to it.
No, I come to it.
Okay.
And you may find it doesn't mean much. He took command of the State Department and lined up all the top senior State Department people and have them do 40 push-ups. And anyone who did not meet the criteria had need rehearsement and need training in order to meet that point. What was the symbolic gesture on this is that we're marching toward B, and there is a very clear criteria where we are going. There is a policy of the United States, and everyone is going to march toward there. And if you have any doubt or concern, then let's talk about it. So we march together. The issue is 86 and 137 really don't mean much if we don't deal with fundamental. Fundamental is what do we need to improve on, okay? In terms of foreign affairs and defense. Defense, you have to get along with this general. If you don't get along with the general, you can't go anywhere.
I get along with him fine.
Yeah, the point is you rule 3 people. That's what Powell was good at. He's good at defense, he's good at diplomacy, because he is personalize it and excel on it, and people, he has integrity,
charisma.
And people can charisma and people respect it. So the point, my point is, in foreign service, the gaps, the things that we can do in foreign service for Kenya to have competitive advantage. One was, I have advocated for many years to appoint Consul General. They are Kenyans in United States, they are Kenyans in Europe, they are Kenyans in South Africa, they are Kenyans in Asia and elsewhere, that are very, very well established. Let me tell you, in America, unless you have someone in the front of Congress, in front of the president, that understand that you are competent enough to convince them, you can't get much out of Congress. And who goes before Kiwani's Club? Who go before Rotary Club? Who go before Iowa potato farmer?
Thank you.
To convince.
Thank you.
So you need someone to come up with a very clear strategy in order for Kenya to advantage.
Debal, I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of this global power index, because global firepower index, because this is part of, for lack of a better word, trying to cause competition among the world, countries, so that you can come up with buying more equipment from the US or Russia, so that you can be seen to be, powerful. Germany doesn't have strong power, doesn't have nuclear weapon, because it was not allowed to. Japan doesn't have. But look at the citizen, the development they've achieved. And I think we must be careful, because this has been done so that we can buy more aircrafts, more helicopters from those countries, so that we can be seen to be doing well. I think we must run away and think of, you see, part of the failures I see today of the American policy is because they believe that in using hard power, military power, but you can use soft power like Obama did and succeed. So I think Kenya can still achieve much by being on the soft power. Our neighbors don't need power for us to be able to show that we are present. What you need is enough to be able to show that if provoked, if invaded, you can repel the enemy, but not to amass those so that you are number 10, number 20. I think we must run away from that.
Right. Well, we should be winding up on this as well. Dr. Khanenje, let's just hear from you briefly.
I think with regard to the 2 main changes, I think that have occupied most of the morning session here, Dr. Juma is going back home. She's been there, and I think she's, a remarkable lady. She's going to do a good job. Rachel is moving to a new house. She's actually going to need a lot of help in trying to put things together. However, the success of each of these ministries depends on very well, clearly defined mission. Now, if it's in defense, they need to get a clear mission what they're supposed to be doing in Somalia and, of course, elsewhere. And then what are other parts of government departments going to do to support that, because they cannot succeed alone. When it comes to MFA, again, and go back to the question, it's true. I think the consul generals and stuff like that, those people need to be considered. But again, as I've said, MFA is grossly underfunded. Actually, they get extremely little money for them to be able to execute Kenya's foreign policy in a way that can bring the beacon back home.
Right, but we need to also see how they've been able to streamline the foreign policy before. for the longest time until 2014 is when Kenya actually had its first foreign policy, isn't it? And we also know he talked about the diaspora with a huge remittance that I think was now even hitting 280 billion shillings here in the country. So far from the foreign ministry, we've not seen the Kenya diaspora policy being streamlined as it is for the longest time ever. I think that should be, a key component of Rachel Omamo's, docket right now to try and see how can they really try and streamline that particular diaspora policy. Let us just wind up on this, General.
Yeah, I want to mention that it's very hard to measure the performance of a CS in the Ministry of Defense. It's very hard. Remember, for a long time, Defense had no minister. In fact, our second minister came in the Kibaki regime. For the last almost 20 years, we had no minister. We were reporting straight to the president, and the CDF straight to the president, who is the commander-in-chief. And therefore, that CS can't come out as much as you want to see, and therefore measuring that person is very tricky. And that's why I want to stand firm and say that I have no issue with Rachel. It was very hard to measure her based on what she was going through. The generals ran the show most of the time, and therefore, as long as you can fit in terms of human relations and see things going, you have no problem. You can't measure her there. But I agree. My friend Hashi won't agree with me, or will agree with me now, that let's see how she performs in foreign.
But realistically, does the CS really run the show, or is it just ceremonial? Because I think the generals really do run the show at the end of the day.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. We'll see her now in foreign, where she's in the lead now alone.
She's in her element.
Yes, we'll see her now. So for defense, I'll ask Hashi, please don't judge her. Let's see her now, how she performs.
I didn't judge her. What I said was that some of the issues around defense that Debal brought up, El-Ade, the soldiers who are missing and all these things, I agree with you actually, General, that a cabinet secretary who goes to the Ministry of Defense with 5-star, 4 and 3-star generals next to her is a bit intimidating. I probably think we should appoint generals as CSs in the Ministry of Defense.
But one point to add on. One point to add on. One point to add on also.
From this panel.
I'm trying to plug you in.
No. I'm not where I am. But also, I want to mention that where there is a weakness also in terms of how to do business. Let's remember, those 3 ministries are very key: Interior, Foreign, and Defense. And these 3 make the National Security Advisory Council, and they meet frequently. And therefore, there's a gap somewhere. The 3 should be able to meet together, resolve issues, and see one common endeavor from all of them. To my interest.
Okay. All right, I think we should finalize on it and move to South Sudan and what is happening, especially with the peace truce right now.